Hello and welcome back to HCS Valencia. We've got Pool A action here with Acend up against Reclaimer. It's myself, Shersey1 and Dan Gaskin, and I'm excited to get into this one, Dan.
Very excited. We get to see what this Acend team is capable of on the LAN, right? This Acend team that's been unbeaten for so long, 599 days, and then they make a team change. And we're all left saying, what is happening here? Why are they doing it? Well, we're about to find out why. Is Respectful going to be that player that can really make a difference on this squad?
Picking up Respectful and, of course, dropping Shady, who's now found his way to Online Warriors, and they had a bit of a shaky start to their pool play action as well, Dan.
They did have a shaky start, and when we spoke to Flux, he was saying, we can just brush this aside, it's nothing to read further into. Are Acend, though, going to be able to show a little bit more dominance in their performance? I'd argue this could be maybe an easier game than perhaps the one that we just saw Online Warriors face, but this Reclaimer side certainly can do some damage. Very talented individuals, some very confident individuals as well, and I'm sure they are definitely going to want to take everything they've got against Acend here.
You say confident individuals, but we did hear an interview with Valkyrie before the game in which he said, oh, we're playing Acend first, let's get this one out of the way. It's not too confident.
No, I think they're kind of expecting a loss here. I think they know realistically what they're going up against. But you know what? King of the Hill Streets to kick things off. It's a new mode, it's a new day, it's a new... But I think they've got a chance here. I think that, you know, Acend, they will probably expect to win, and overconfidence sometimes does bring you down.
So with, I guess, Acend wanting to start off the day here, because for many people, Dan, they're the champions elect. The pressure's on them to perform here today. It
is on them to perform, and I think they'll know that. So these are players that have dealt with pressure for however many months, however many years at this point. And Reclaimer will just be a team that they have to brush to one side so they can move on to bigger and better things. They have been performing pretty well in King of the Hill as well. Like, they know how to play Strongholds, they know how to move around this map. I'm expecting a solid, dominant performance from Acend.
Well, game one is going to be King of the Hill Streets. We'll be jumping straight into it, to the eyes and ears of one of the Acend members, Dan. I can't wait to jump into it. I'll tell you something, I've been excited for this for about a month or two now. Yeah,
I think that European LAN is what we've been waiting for, and finally it is once again upon us. Thank you everyone who bared with us while the players were getting ready after the previous series, and already Acend in this hill and managing to put some points on the board.
They've strolled on up to Arcade, they put a few coins in the machine, and now they're starting to score some serious points. And Reclaimer off to a very bad start. Millsy the last man alive, but he has done a little bit of damage for his team to try and break this setup.
You just don't want to get sucked into a position where Acend gets so much control and you kind of funnel players in one by one trying to break this setup. You need to be communicating to make sure you're fighting together, but Nemains gets absolutely perfected there by Sika.
Well, it's good to see Sika's guns firing straight already. That's going to be bad news for his enemies, that much is for damn sure, but he stepped into the hill once more, and this great start for Acend and equally as bad start for Reclaimer is going from bad to worse.
It's one of those ones where Acend have this setup now and Reclaimer keeps spawning either A or C, but they've got very messy spawns. They're spawning as ones rather than as a full team, and they're taking these individual fights, and you don't want to be taking individual fights against Acend over and over again. They will punish you.
Valkyrie gets outshot, gets the wiggles, the thruster pack comes to Sika's aid, and he makes sure he comes out on top in that engagement. And Valkyrie currently yet to register a single kill, and that brings up a point, Dan. He was one of the teammates who got dropped recently. Yeah,
so Reclaimer, they went through an interesting passage of play during the regional qualifiers. They had Blizz on their team, they were ready, and then the night before the qualifier, Blizz left Reclaimer. Valkyrie was a previous teammate, he competed with them weeks before, and they had to kind of go down that route of saying, well, who else is there? So this is a chance for Valkyrie to show why he should have been on that team. And even though Acend may not be the best place to demonstrate that against, I'm certainly got my eyes on that player.
Well, sometimes the mentality can be, get the bad ones out of the way nice and early. With Sika, let's put a couple of shots down. Bulldog will get the job done onto Millsy there. 2 dead, go Reclaimer once more to Legend, the only man down for Acend. So it's dominance here off the rip, and Acend have already scored 1 point.
I do like that Acend had so much of that first hill. They then waited a little bit before completing it. They tried to get C control here. They tried to get control of the station so that they were ready for that next hill. Granted, Reclaimer did very well to ensure that it wasn't going to be an easy ride for Acend, so Acend just had to dip their toes in, finish that point off. But now suddenly here in station, this is a far closer situation for Reclaimer. They've been able to get a few dead, and now they're scoring.
Now looking at Legend, for many people, the best player in Europe, looking to drive his team to a victory not only today, but of course in the tournament. Valkyrie 1v1 once more. Can he come out on top? No, he can't. The Frenchman gets the better of him this time, but they're still scoring points.
Needs help from his team though. Great movement into station here, and you can see all the angles he's checking. Make sure that every avenue is at least looked at so we can feed that information as the first entry player. Not only do you need to do damage, but you also need to give as much information as possible to your team so that they can confidently walk on into station without having to worry about getting shot in the back.
On board with Respectful, sporting the Prime David Beckham curtains. We do appreciate the look this weekend, good sir. Has a stock rifle in his back pocket to use now as he transcends up the stairs. Shabby Dagger comes out diving. Respectful will put him away. Does he know Mildy's in the red room as well? No shields. Yes, he does. Double kill for him. Bagged and tagged.
Yeah, and he knows he's so vulnerable at the moment. That's why he's trying to jump on top of the little water fountain there. But eventually, shields just come back and he can re-engage. And he's in such a power position right now. He can look across to Pink Street. He's got the red gun as well, so he can just do so much damage. But it's 2-0. Ascend have managed to put a second point on the board.
Respectful gets away with the stock rifle. Only for a moment, though, as he gets taken down in tires. Shabby Dagger now will pick up the scraps. Can he finish Legend here? No, he can't. Bottom middle, though, Melee comes through, and Snipe Drone gets that kill there. Rockets up, ready to be grabbed very shortly here, but the hill still a little bit scrambly for now. Both these teams still jostling for position.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an engagement happening on kind of all areas of the map, but right now, Rockets are the main focus. I love this, though, from Seeker. A little bit of trigger discipline, not to shoot the first player he saw. He gave the information, and eventually the Rockets really come to nothing.
The mains with the Rockets, and the player who's been struggling in this game, but throughout all the online games, Dan, the mains is a player that's impressed us.
I love what Nemains is able to achieve as a player. I think that he's very interesting to watch. I think he is a player that knows what he wants to do in Halo Infinite, but he just needs that team around him to give him that security to play in his best way. And I think that as this tournament goes on, if he gains confidence, Nemains is going to be a player to watch for sure.
Snipe Drone helping secure the third hill for his team. The mains goes down once more. He snaps over towards Millsy, but 3 dead now for Reclaimer. Their third successive point without reply. And Reclaimer are on the ropes, game 1.
And we knew that Ascend had this ability, right? On King of the Hill Streets, they have the ability to 4-0 even the best of teams, let alone a team who has been finishing around top 12. As for Reclaimer, they just need to look at this one as a chance to warm up, warm into this series. You're going up against Ascend, who are going to be hot out of the blocks. They were always bound to be doing so. And at 3-0, you almost accept the loss at this point. Some teams can even play just time at this point and say, look, we could just hold this hill for 3 minutes, but I don't think Ascend have to.
You raised the point about maybe just using it as a warm-up, but it's very hard to warm up, Dan, when you're in the death screen the entire time.
It is. Well, you can warm up your hands, maybe. Just rub them together enough and just say, okay, a death screen again. Let's just make sure I'm ready for game number 2, as, let's be honest, we don't need to beat around the bush. Ascend have already got this one in the bag. 3-0, and they are very close to making it 4.
This is impressive for Ascend, because they've come out here, and this is a statement of intent. Straight away, looking hot off the blocks, Dan.
And they had to. I think when you look at what Online Warriors did a little bit earlier in the tournament and they had that shaky game, they are one of their biggest competitors. There's been a lot of questions because Online Warriors took down Ascend in previous tournaments. They made Ascend make these changes almost. So Ascend need to come back and say, hey, look, we are a dominant force. You've got Bran, Respectful, who wants to make a difference, as we see Shabby Dagger get a triple kill with the Rockets to try and just breathe a little bit of life here into Reclaimer.
Those that open the door then just a little bit. Have Ascend left something on the table. Can Shabby Dagger and team make them pay for it? Bulldog in hand as he crouches over towards these garbage bags. Seek is going to come up and taste the full wrath of it as well as it clamps down. Respectful in a 1v1, and ultimately Shabby Dagger could not turn 1 into 2, and the setup is broken. 4 dead now for Reclaimer.
4 dead, and those final points will be scored by Ascend. Reclaimer got so close to getting a point on the board, but it is Ascend who take game 1 here on the main stage, and it was a very emphatic victory.
Dominance, Dan, it must be said. Is there anybody there that impressed you?
I think the entire roster.
Yeah.
When you look at how well they were playing in tandem, moving around the map together, constantly holding hands with one of their teammates, very rarely did you see a player on their own looking lost. They were winning their 1v1s, they were winning the battles they had to win. On the other side, for Reclaimer, it's difficult to try and single out any players because it seems like whenever they turned a corner, they were walking into several Ascend members. So for me, if I'm looking at that, I'm saying, okay, Reclaimer, you need to make sure you are equaling the amount of players going into that engagement. Stop the 1v1 pushes, make sure you at least got a teammate nearby so they can help you out.
Taking a look at the stats then, Seeker jumps off the page immediately with 15 kills and 11 deaths. Anything else catching your eye though?
The main's 5-14. It's not a game that he'll certainly want to remember. I think Shabby Dagger had a good game, especially at the end with those Rockets. I think he'll be happy that he's been able to win some individual engagements against some of the best players in Europe, if not some of the best in the world. And if he can take that confidence, if he can mold that into his gameplay coming up into the rest of the series, then perhaps it can encourage the rest of the squad to match his level, to match his energy. Just need to try and build that for the rest of the team. Make them believe and don't get too deflated because of that loss.
Because it's important to note right now, Reclaimer are, on paper, the worst team in the group at the moment. They're playing against the first seed, so they need all the confidence they can get. They need to get those guns nice and hot. And Shabby Dagger, game one, he's looking good off the rip.
It's really good practice as well for Reclaimer. I know it's very difficult to realistically learn when you get absolutely stomped in a game, but you need to be looking at why you're getting stomped and what it is that Acend are doing very well. And even though it's difficult to implement new strategy at a tournament itself, with a lot of these top 12 teams, the teams that qualified through the qualifier, they were newly formed. Like, they were kind of learning things as they go. They will have been learning things within scrims with the past few weeks. And these extra reps, these extra games are going to help so much going forward with the rest of this tournament. And this is almost a freebie here against Acend. You even heard it in the interview. As you said, Valkyrie expecting this to just be another game they have to just brush on by.
Game two then. Slayer Aquarius to be hoping to brush straight into that, and we always say there's a chance for the lower teams to get one over on them, and with the Slayer Aquarius coming up next, Clutch and the Death didn't think they had much hope. Do you think Reclaimer can grab something here?
I think realistically I would agree with Clutch. It's difficult to say sometimes. It's not often I do say that, but Clutch is right. Aquarius Slayer, if it's played correctly, is very difficult to get back into if you fall behind. So Reclaimer, they need to make sure they have a good start here. Starting strategy, prioritize the right things. Camouflage is important, and of course, the sizzle sticks is where you need to be focusing, not just at the start, but throughout this game. Always be sending someone car side. Always be thinking about those sizzle sticks. Is anyone going to be picking them? Is anyone got them? What can you do with them? Can you zone a team out? Can you get finishing on kills? They are absolutely imperative on this map.
Player that's always impressed me when we've gone over to Aquarius is Snipe Drone on this Acend team. He's always putting damage down for his teammates as they soar into bases, and he'll be needing to do the same thing here again. He
will be needing to do that for sure, and I expect him to. I don't think there's any doubt that he is going to be running an absolute tear through this Reclaimer squad. I will say that the previous Acend, Snipe Drone would often be playing as the single player and the rest of the three French guys on their own. I think we're going to see more of a Snipe Drone and Respectful kind of holding hands duo to be happening more often as this team is now formed.
No, we're on board with Snipe Drone as he puts down a couple of shots onto Valkyrie, and we'll back him up over towards that closet side. Legend gets the first pick, but it's not for long as the mains answers back with a nicely placed sticky grenade, and that's going to be the first camouflage secured for Acend. The sizzle stick went down, but Shabby Dagger is in a world of hurt. He will also be joining his teammate in the respawn screen. The early engagement's in 3-2 with Milty, just about for a moment, but not for long.
Look at the confidence as well from Legend. He's not like running away and trying to keep up the camo alive. He's saying, I've got the camo, I have the advantage. You've got to try and see me through a little bit of your looking glasses. And he's still managing to pick up kills, still managing to get away. And already we're seeing a significant lead being found for Acend.
That was two players shooting one player. And somehow not only did he get the kill, but he was able to scamper away with his life as well. That is why he's one of the best around.
9-3, or 9-2-3 should I say. Legend with 6 kills at the moment. And Reclaimer already falling victim to what we've seen happen so many times to those in Europe, trying to match the pace of Acend, but unfortunately, very quickly learning it is not easy to even be on the same level when it does come to how quickly these guys can play.
You see Reclaimer desperately trying to get out of that base, and they've all chosen to move P side. The mains puts down a couple of shots, but it's not enough damage that Shabby Dagger can capitalize on. That's going to be a pinch from the backside as Seek will take down the mains. I see you looking at me.
A pinch from the backside.
I said what I said.
You said what you're saying. Sometimes it comes unexpected. You've got to be careful when you are stood next to a Jersey. He is Legend, still alive, still managing to do damage. Eventually will get taken down. But did you notice how he was just moving around the map with so much confidence? Like top mid, he was. This is his playground, like a jungle gym. He was swinging through, and the team were always there to assist him. He was just putting so much damage down. It must be so fun to play with players who can emit that amount of damage.
Fortunately, sometimes you have to play with Gasket and Onset, who do not appreciate your flanks or indeed your sunburn, as I've been catching strays all tournament long already. But Seeker gets taken down, but not before bringing one along with him for the ride. Currently now 19-6, but Acend still remaining on top.
You did manage to get someone on the first day
I did.
We were in Valencia, so I think you deserve the strays you're catching.
Yeah.
The first day, Richie.
It was day 0.
Of all days, that's the one day you put suntan lotion on. Well, we all learn lessons, as maybe Reclaimer are learning a big lesson here, 21-9. It is a camouflage in favor of Shabby Dagger, though. Perhaps he can start to encourage the rest of the team to get some sort of comeback going.
Gets to register his first kill after having an impressive game 1 in comparison to the rest of his team. Can he lock in Seeker? Yes, he can. The help of the thruster back will get him back into the line of sight to eliminate Seeker this time. 22 kills to 10, a long road back, but it always starts with 1.
Let's pick up another one. Heatwave also in hand. And Aquarius is a map where you can have significant comebacks. We've seen teams 5, 10 kills down and make comebacks towards the latter stages of a game. The worrying sign for me is that it's very early that we see a big lead like this. But a couple of kills going in favor of Reclaimer will at least give them that hope, give them that confidence. But right now, just look at Legend again. He is not worried about where he is on the map right now. He is just looking for players to fight.
Not worried about where he is standing and not worried about where the enemy team are either, as he has free reign right now to parkour around the map, pick up a thruster pack front base, and the confidence he had in his teammate to win his 1v1 engagement top base and not even be concerned with it. As Respectful in a 1v1 with Mills, he does win that 1v1. Valkyrie tries to get the trade, but somehow Respectful's gotten away.
I wonder if there's like an in-team bet going on right now with whether the French or the English can get more kills. And very much Sika and Legend have been walking around saying, you do the damage, we'll finish the kills. It's a triple kill for Sika. And look how he is looking for more. Oh, he got stolen by Respectful. I told you. You always give him the overkill, but no, it's a battle of France versus England.
You didn't sound a single bit French there when you were trying to do Sika's impression. We'll have to work on that, but there's still time. Sika front base, jumping up and down. No players to shoot this time around though. The main's positioned in the base, tries to get away from a grenade, but it's only straight into the hands and the battle rifle shots of Sika. 37 kills to 18. This is a trouncing.
And I think this is Ascend's tournament to lose. I think that with how dominant they've been online, the fact that they even won the last online tournament after having that blip before the change, everyone's got their eyes on trying to beat this roster, to try and topple them. And even though Respectful will have the most pressure on him, I am sure the rest of the 3 players will be feeling it equally because they made that change. They dropped Shady, they chose to pick up a new player, so they all are facing different kind of challenges.
The buck stops with the people who made the decisions. And in the long run, will it be one they're happy with? Certainly right now, early doors, it's been working. They got right back on top in the online competitions, but you have to say, for Ascend, their ambitions have to be to win this tournament.
And they have to be blowing teams like this out of the water. They can't afford to have an off game and look like they are beatable, like they've got any sort of weaknesses in their armor. Otherwise, other teams will go into games confident against them, saying, oh, well, you know, if they lost a game against Reclaimer, maybe we can beat them on this. And then suddenly they are taking engagements perhaps they wouldn't before. You want other teams to fear you, so they don't challenge you, so they don't take those risks, because that's when Ascend are at their best, when they're constantly on top of their other team.
The expression is, it's better to be feared than loved, and that's exactly what Ascend are trying to do to the rest of Europe as they lock in a stake. Ascend go 2-0 open the series, and it was never in doubt in game 2.
A Wagyu, maybe? Yeah. A fine, sliced, medium rare steak, perfectly executed there by Ascend, and it's impressive, it has to be said. I mean, it's kind of what you expect, though, from this Ascend roster. It's not like we go into this series thinking, oh, they might struggle. We know what they're capable of. They know what they're capable of. Even their opposition's Reclaimer, we heard in the interview, they also know what this Ascend roster is capable of. And this is when the realization starts to hit in as a player when you are going up against the #1 seed of saying, we've given what we can, we're 2-0 down, we're probably looking at a 3-0, lads. But you need to still give it your all here in this game 3. You saw what happened earlier in the series with Online Warriors going against Awababop. Awababop were able to pick up a game, right? Because they were able to actually push themselves through and they were able to have a little bit of belief in themselves.
And something that they touched upon the desk at some point is the fact that Respectful, this team change comes in, there's always that honeymoon period. And at what point does it come to an end? I think this tournament here, if they win it, you say it's not a honeymoon anymore. This is the team they're locked in, ready to go.
Yes, this is the first European LAN we've had this season, right? We've been waiting for this moment, and any questions or kind of doubts about this team would be firmly answered if they were to win this LAN, because we've always had that kind of, well, you know, Ascend a bit dominant, but it's been online performances. And then when international competition, Ascend were a little bit lackluster, it has to be said. Like, they didn't maybe live up to their expectations when it came to Rally. Did far better at Kansas City. For sure, they got top 8, but I think that we know that they could have got top 6 at that event, and I think they know they could have got top 6. They were so close against the Kansas City Pioneers, but couldn't quite get over that final hurdle. But as we look back at some of these highlights from that previous game, it really was a one-sided affair. Reclaimer just never got firing. They were never really be able to get out of their base, and that was because of the dominance that Ascend were able to lay down on Aquarius Slayer. And speaking about Reclaimer, as you can see, they're making challenges there. They never seem to be on the same page. They're desperately trying to play defensive Halo, and against a team like Ascend, you're just inviting the pressure on. You are, and you have to make sure you're working together. I think with some of these lower teams, lower seeded teams, excuse me, they panic in the situations where they're behind and they don't really know how to get themselves back into the game.
Strongholds recharge is going to be game 3. Dan, talk to me. Is there a chance for Reclaimer to bounce back?
No, I don't think so. I think Strongholds now is the worst place you could possibly go for a series layout against Acend. Acend are historically one of the best Strongholds teams in Europe. However, Shady was one of the key reasons for that. So I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on Respectful and saying, all right, well, what does he do differently or similarly to what Shady used to do to try and make sure that they can still continue that dominance on Strongholds? But Reclaimer, if they can find that little bit of energy that Shabby was able to find at the end of game 1, for example, there is no reason why they couldn't at least make this a close game. You've just got to make sure you don't fall too far behind here. If you get caught on that spawn trap, if suddenly you're down and there's a triple cap on the side of Ascend, that's when your heads start to drop.
It's an interesting point you raise about the speed in which Shady offers, and perhaps traditionally that has not been Respectful's game. He's a damage dealer. Bottom middle though, Shabby Dagger immediately goes down. Snipe Drone and Sika picked up a couple in the feed as he scrambles away to bottom elevator, pushes the button. Just about misses his clamber there, but will get there on the second attempt. A in control of Ascend. C for Reclaimer, but Respectful comes out on top of that one.
I will say that Na'Vi used to struggle on recharge in general, and they have got far better since adding Mighty, and that's not suggesting that Respectful was the sole problem. Okay, Respectful maybe was the sole problem. No, he like, perhaps there is something to be said that the speed of which you play can really affect your team, and you need to be matching the rest of the squad. So as long as Respectful is playing at the same pace, there's no reason why Ascend would struggle here.
Legend gets the trade. Massive from Valkyrie to turn around, get that kill for his team, but the reset didn't come. And now B starting to transfer over for Reclaimer here. Desperately trying to stay alive as Millsy or 2, but that grenade will connect, but not before converting. So B in their control, but as I say that, they lose C. And this is what Ascend do to you. They make you scramble.
They do make you scramble, and they're always looking for fights. Ammo ran out for Sika, so he was never going to win that engagement anyway. But Sika didn't just sit top elevator there and cower away and hold A. He was always looking at angles, always looking to try and challenge. And that's what Ascend do so well, is the confidence in which they want to take fights, they want to re-engage, makes it very difficult to try and get back into a game when you're behind.
Valkyrie's had a nice start here, picking up 5 kills, and now he needs the rest of his team to follow suit. A in control now, as is C. They're starting to score now. Reclaimer, this is much better.
The main's just desperately trying to stay alive, but there is eyes on him. He's being called out like there's no tomorrow and eventually will be found. And for Ascend, they now need to decide, is it going to be C or A they target first? And judging by where they're currently going for, it's probably going to be a C take.
Shabby Dagger soars back out for the challenge. A questionable one, it must be said, as he could have stayed alive in tower, but sometimes you live and die by the sword, and he certainly did this time. Camouflage spotted out here by Snipe Drone as he gets him down to no shields, but he too has been taken down. But Millsy, big kill, eliminated from the equation.
Such an important kill, and Snipe Drone went looking for it. He knew the camouflage was coming up and maybe had been already taken, so he hunted for it. He got his kind of best vision goggles that he could find.
I think he just squinted that.
Yeah, he did just squint a little bit. Yeah, he did. And honestly, Ascend, if they carry on the way they're going to eventually get that triple cap soon.
C though converted. A again. Goes back over towards Ascend. It'd be interesting to hear the communication with 2 Englishmen and 2 French. Let's have a quick Astro listen in.
I've got it, Sika. Weak, one shot. Nice. Mike here.
Top tower, one guy. Top tower. Go top tower.
Go, go.
I can't. One bomb tower. Bomb tower, weak. One shot bomb tower. One guy in goal, guys.
I'm going C, We
have to keep someone from my guys. Left. You guys in B. One guy pushing you sisters, I think I'm coming.
I had C stairs on me now. Weak.
Swing game, I can move him. One shot B.
I'm one shot.
See weak.
I'm coming left.
Top goal,
Top goal sniper.
Weak, Needler's one shot.
Yeah, weak Needler going top A.
Yeah, he's not pushing.
Top A, go up.
Just get my towers.
There we have it. Cool, calm, and collected here is Respectful. Controlled C for Ascend, but Reclaimer making this a really difficult task.
Yeah, I will say I'm impressed that Reclaimer have kept this so close. They've been able to stop Ascend from getting that trip cap that Ascend always are desperately looking for. And there's been a lot of 1v1s that have actually been engaged by Reclaimer and won by Reclaimer. This is what is making Ascend so tough for their kind of path to try and get from C to A or A to C. But now that they've got Reclaimer locked in A here, this is when things get a little bit difficult. And the mains gets a great entry.
It's always a worry that although you can stay in the fight with Ascend, once they do lock you in, you tap out. killing spree for Respectful.
Reclaimer are being a real nuisance. One player is kind of going to see, or going to be, they're just playing in a way that maybe Acend aren't really used to. It's quite a scrappy approach of always just throwing one member into a stronghold, and it's an approach that doesn't work as much as it maybe used to in the likes of Halo 5, but certainly in Infinite, if you get caught out and you're just giving your position away, then you really can be a detriment to your team.
Respectful, nice and relaxed, really utilizing his camouflage very, very well as he controls B now. B and C, Shabby Dagger sent to the death screen as well. But they're starting to convert C once more, Reclaimer, again, making it really difficult.
Yeah, just always moving back and forth from A to C. A and B should be in control of Ascend's position now, but it's whether we're going to see another just push to B. Are Reclaimer going to do exactly the same, just worm one player in behind the batteries, hope you stay alive, force Acend out of A, and then you can take the fight out in the open. But it looks like this time, Acend have better prepared themselves for it.
Oh,
What
and
just
I
happened?
tell you something, Respectful. Shabby Dagger has come up top catwalk, thrown a plasma grenade your way. You've hit the repulsor, sent him not only off the edge, but the plasma grenade stick along with him.
That's not a pretty sight, and I'd love to see that from the POV of Shabby Dagger, but I'm sure he won't want to be experiencing it again. But great use of the repulsor there by Respectful, just holding top A here. And look at his movement. Oh, it's perfect. I love the way he's just played that entire episode of what we've just seen at Elevator.
Episode 1, the Brandon Stones Revenge Tour is continuing to ravage on here. But B almost got converted, but again, Legend drops in, gets the reset to scramble over towards A. Milty getting shot in the back, double kill for the Frenchman. The main's last man standing for a moment. Valkyrie will join him in C, but they're looking to play defense now.
Legend a little bit exposed because he wanted that camouflage, but he gets away with what he set out to achieve, and now he can put it to good use. And this is when it gets tough for Reclaimer. Sending one player in and trying to just put your toes in a stronghold, when it doesn't capture, and when you get taken down and it gets reset, it's so hurtful for you as a squad because you put so much resources into trying to position that flank. But eventually, the distraction does allow Reclaimer to get at least B here.
What can Legend do then with the rest of this camouflage? Couple of shots into the back of Valkyrie, who slides back out, gets a trade. It's a better trade for Valkyrie than it was for Legend, it must be said. Another kill goes their way. 2v2 on the map now. Respectful turns his attentions towards C, recognizing that A was going against them.
A has to be captured here by Reclaimer, but you can tell there's an engagement that's happening right now over towards Elevator because it is being held. No one's been able to capture it. Legend needs to at least stay alive or reset. If I'm Legend here, I would have gone for the reset, but I think he was a little bit worried about jumping up, and maybe the reset wasn't really worth it for him anyway.
A and B then for Reclaimer. They're really putting the cat amongst the pigeons here in the strongholds. We expected this to be cruise control for Acend, but they're making it a very difficult task and showing they're here to play.
A really good sign for Reclaimer as well, especially when you look at the rest of the pool and what they've got to try and do to get out of this pool and into that winner's bracket.
Oh.
A good performance against the best team in the bracket is certainly going to give you that confidence, but now Respectful dominating C with the sword should once again put more points for Acend.
B has been converted then. Here comes the engagement over towards A. The mains.
Wow!
Backs in and out, but somehow Snipe Drone soars out. Shoryuken. That's 3 dead now for Reclaimer. Triple cap, and this is something I feared.
And that's just one of those situations where you never expect Snipe Drone to be hustling, bustling around that corner and hitting you with the people's elbow. Instead, you kind of just positioning your reticle, waiting for the person to walk round, but that's Snipe Drone. He's always trying to be aggressive, as the shock rifle now being used on that pad to make sure you can do a little bit of damage to anyone nearby.
I have now just imagined that Snipe Drone has taken off an armband and he's thrown it out towards the crowd as he lands that people's elbow, but Reclaimer bounce back here. A and C in their control. Snipe Drone try as he might to get the reset, is unsuccessful this time around, and now C is the port to call, but can Milty get close to him? Respectful repulsors out of danger. Seeka is going to be the first man to fight here. Respectful gets the kill though. He's about to get 2. Double kill and full defense on C.
Gets a double, and his reward is a shock rifle, and look how desperately he's searching for the extra kills. Valkyrie's his next target. How different it could have been if Milzy was able to hit those shots with a shock rifle. That's the difference maker, and that's Respectful showing how it's done.
Triple cap once more, and Acend are going through the gears.
Shifting right up into cruise control now. It's a position where Reclaimer are starting to fade away after giving it a fine effort to begin with, but 227 to 112, that is a long road back for Reclaimer.
The mains though picks up 2. Commando could be a triple kill, he desperately wanted it, but Didn't spin around to deal with the player shooting him in the spine. Unfortunately, they're the mistakes that you make. Against some of the best teams, they will punish you. 241 now to 112.
It's a fantastic finish for Acend here, and Reclaimer now just need to try and desperately get into either A or C. They do start taking C. Game is still alive.
Game still on then. Snipe drones in B though. They're happy to lose C and continue scoring here, only requiring 3 more points, but they've got members in Hills.
Members are in A and in B at the moment for Reclaimer. Acend are just going to take a step back, reassess, and re-strategize about how they want to take this one. A has already been taken, and now B is going to be the focus once more.
It was 4 dead for Reclaimer. They desperately tried to keep this game alive, but there was nothing doing. Cruise control for Acend. Nobody will care about how close it was in the start. It's a 3-0 clean sweep.
It's what we expected from the European champions. Time and time again, these guys have been at #1, and they come into this tournament expecting exactly the same as what we've been seeing online. Respectful does not look out of place on this roster. I think he is going to be a fine addition. And this was their first test on main stage, but I think we've got to say congratulations to Acend. And for Reclaimer, you know, they showed some promise. I think there is definitely some things they can look at and say, hey, we gave it a really good go against one of the best teams in this region.
And for Acend, their tougher games are still to come. But they have shown they're not taking anybody prisoner here. They're going straight for the throat, straight for the jugular. 3-0 clean sweep. And although Reclaimer did look good in game 3, it was 1 and 2 was a whitewash.
Acend will be wanting 3-0s throughout the entirety of pools here.
Yeah.
Ascend will be wanting 3-0s throughout the entirety of this tournament. They want to make a statement. They want to show why they are the best. They've got a new passion. They've got that new drive. Looking at those stats, 27 and 8 for Respectful. I questioned his position on Recharge and maybe what he was able to achieve with Na'Vi. Well, perhaps with the right team around you, it doesn't matter what map you're on, you can definitely perform.
Spoke about him being a damage dealer, and perhaps you don't need to be the first man into the fight as long as you're the last man to get the kills. That's exactly what my philosophy is anyway.
It certainly is. But it's Seeker who actually put down the most damage there, 6,200. Everyone on Ascend doing their job. Snipe Drone, the least damage, but often that anchor player who is always expecting to kind of be there to do damage across the map and give that information to the rest of the team.
And although Reclaimer hung in there, it was Shabby Dagger who actually had a bit of a struggle of a game, but a killing frenzy for Respectful. That's one way to show out on the first game of the day.
Yeah, very impressed with Respectful. I think any questions about whether he'd fit onto the team were probably answered during the most recent online tournament, but now firmly re-engaged and assessed here when we get to LAN. It's like, yep, okay, he's locked in. Respectful's the guy for this roster.
Well, that's all for us. Lottie and the lads are going to break this one down. We'll see you in a bit.
Thank you so much, Josie and Gaskin. Yes, indeed. My goodness, that might just be the fastest series we will have all weekend long. I mean, Ascend, they were ready to just completely put their competition in the dirt and be done with it, especially the first series for them this weekend. And my goodness, what a lights out performance. We really saw them kind of set the bar and the tone, I think, for this weekend in that first map. What did you make of their gameplay overall, Clutch?
Dominant, dominant, dominant. These guys, they're the kings over here in Europe, and rightfully so, right? This is how you want to see a team kick off a tournament, especially with the ambitions that they have. They showed me that there may be conversations if we get throughout today that this team might not drop a game this tournament.
Yeah,
Possible,
they might not. It's looking pretty damn impressive. And I think, you know, there were a lot of questions about the roster, the change that they made. Was this the right choice? If they keep up, you know, looking this way, looking this dominant on pretty much everything that they are given in a series layout, you know, Brav, where's the ceiling for this team?
The ceiling is not within visibility. We don't have sight lines to that ceiling because when you look at the games that we saw here, I mean, 27 and 8 from Respectful, these are crazy numbers, 23 assists from Sika. These are fantastic numbers. I think it's like Clutch said, not only is the way you want to start a tournament, but to be honest, we've seen really talented rosters in the past that they struggle early, and it is a sign of things to come. It's a bit of Friday foreshadowing, which you never really want to see. However, this is the kind of Friday foreshadowing that the Ascend roster will want to see with some fantastic work throughout the series. I think they started the way they intended. Look at that amazing play there from Respectful there with the return to sender repulsor off of a ledge with that stick. They're doing it, and they're doing it with style.
And also one thing to add as well with Reclaim is the fact that they didn't really know how to break some of the most basic setups. Like, you could see for the majority of the time, Ascend had both A and B, just forcing spawns on C, keeping them open all the time. And the worst thing about holding A and B as your opponents is the fact that having to break it, having to flank all around down long and gold to force that break or at least make the attempt of it. Very, very tough. But the worst thing was the fact that no one was looking at Respectful. He was on top A, he was laying all the shots down, laying down the law pretty much, and no one was counteracting or even trying to push back at all.
No, no one was looking at Respectful, but I'll tell you what, you guys will be looking at Respectful right now because he's joining us on the desk, of course, from Acend. It's so good to have you up here, dude, and we have been really watching out for you, obviously, having a big roster change here over to Acend. There were questions asked, right? You know, how is this going to go? What is this team going to look like? The longevity behind this change as well. So how are you feeling from your perspective coming into this new situation and really gunning for that top spot?
I mean, I'm feeling really confident personally, me and my team. Like you say, there was a lot of questions asked if my playstyle would fit in with these guys on Acend. Certain people didn't think I would, people thought I did. And you know, like at the end of the day, if you're all good players, you can all just mesh with each other pretty well. And I play very well with these guys, and you know, I'm having fun. That's like, all I want at the end of the day, to have fun with my teammates, like in and outside the game, and we're just gelling, and it's just good vibes.
First off, just want to say, you wondered if Acend was going to play around with their food here in pool play. The second I saw Brandon walk in, shirt tucked in, it's business. It's all business. It's all business here.
It is.
All right, so big question here.
Yeah.
Everybody's been talking about it, the change from Shady to Respectful. What do you bring to the team that Shady maybe didn't? Why are you guys going to be a better Acend? Because we know how good Acend was before.
I mean, I think Shady's a good player, obviously. He's been a good player for a while. Personally, I think I bring in my veteranship to the team. You know, I've been doing this for a long time now, and I still feel like very, very confident in myself, very confident in the game. I'm a bit older now. I'm not like that young 20-year-old kid anymore. But you know, I still gun people. I'm still having fun, and you know, I'm just bringing to the team like good vibes. Like, and that's all you need, man. Like, just be happy with each other and in and outside the game. And when it comes to playing in game, then it's just easy.
Beautiful.
It is easy indeed when you're playing like that, and you obviously were looking absolutely incredible in your first series on LAN here in Valencia. I've got a couple of questions though, because obviously a lot of pressure on your shoulders, like you said, you know, the big change, a lot of talking happening online, a lot of talking happening within the actual pro scene and the community. What is it like jumping from a team to another top team? How did you fit in? What was it, you know, what was the dynamic like? You know, what were you discussing, trying to fix things and create a new team chemistry and dynamic to head into Valencia?
Well, to be honest, like I've been playing with, you know, the likes of, you know, Kimbo, Jimbo for many years now, you know, back from even 2016, 2015, 2016. So to play with some new players is different, but like, you know, it's like I'm kind of reborn. It's like a fresh start. I feel like I can like play myself more. I feel like I can come out more as an individual, and like I'm just having lots of fun, really.
What I was going to say, like going back to Na'Vi and then leading to Acend, you look like a shadow of your former self when you was with Na'Vi, and I was like, this guy can normally pack a punch half the time. But do you feel like it was the style of Na'Vi in terms of the structure, the setups, how you know, micromanagement they want to be in order to make the best plays? Do you feel like this style of Acend and how their strategic aggression, does that help you a lot more compared to the previous lineup, or is it just something else in particular?
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to, you know, like both kinds of game style. Like one's more organized, one's a little bit more chaotic. But if there's chaos with organization as well, if you can use that to your advantage, then you're gonna have like, it's gonna be like you kind of want to play the best of both scenarios, like whether you're on the back foot, on the front foot. And like, you know, I've just come into this team, I haven't really gone over like 1,000,001 things with them. We're gonna play this way, we're gonna play that way. I just came in, just played my game, played the way that I thought my comfortable Halo style, and it's just worked, like, kind of thing. So we're just gonna like basically keep going the whole tournament, try and transition that into every series, and just have fun at the end of the day.
Now, Respectful, last question before I let you go here, because we have been dying to talk to you about everything. You know, a lot of teams looking at you guys to totally knock you off the pedestal. They have been looking at Acend for the entire season. You've come on board and they're like, here we go. We could capitalize on some maybe, you know, kind of growing pains, some potential mistakes that are just kind of, you know, mismatched in terms of the roster. But you guys are looking pretty good. Do you feel any of that pressure coming into LAN, knowing online's not a factor anymore? Even playing field, and we've got the likes of Quadrant and Na'Vi after you guys.
I mean, there's always, you know, like pressure on certain players. Like there'll be pressure on me to perform like after the roster change. The same with Mighty's, who's filling in my shoes for Navi. There'll be pressure on him. At the end of the day, like I like it when my back's against the wall, like when I'm a dark horse, like kind of thing. Like I kind of thrive off that a little bit. Like gives me some energy, gives me motivation. I personally like that. Like it's kind of fun for me. So yeah, I'm, you know, just gonna keep playing our game. Seeker, Snipe Drone, and Legend, they were all a core 3 already, so it's kind of, you know, they've only changed one player out. It's not like a whole new roster rework. So those guys as 3 individuals are amazing players. They're really good. They're absolutely sick, disgusting. Like, I'm just happy to be teaming with them.
I love that. Well, you thrive under pressure. Pressure makes diamonds, and this diamond is called Respectful, and he's on Acend right now looking to take that top spot by the end of the weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck through the rest of the tournament. And folks, we're going to head to a quick break, but when we come back, we have plenty more action up for grabs. We have Quadrant versus Scorched Hand. It's going to be on that main stage behind us. I'm going to see all of the action unfold here in Valencia. We'll see you right after this.